Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes, of course, here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up those football gods this morning as we sit one day, to the end of the NFL season. Man. Another year has come and gone. Tomorrow night, we'll be live streaming the game, of course. We'll be watching Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. We've got the old guard and Tom Brady, and, of course, the young gun and Pat Mahomes, the future of the NFL. And as Cowboy fans, it hurts. It sucks. It stinks. It's awful. We've seen teams rise and fall and rise again to go back to the Super Bowl while we've been stuck in the quagmire that is the Dallas Cowboys, led by Jerry Jones. The question is, will we continue this cycle year after year after year, or can next year or the year after be a difference maker? That's the bottom line. As a Cowboy fan, you got to have hope, but, hope for the best, expect the worst, and you'll never be disappointed. I have had many discussions, many comments, many videos for keeping Dak Prescott. I'm going to ask the trolls or the people that say that Dak's not the guy, what is the solution? Because I've asked this before, but I don't seem to find an answer. All I hear is Dak's not the one. Dak's a garbage-ass quarterback. Dak is whack. Dink and dunk, Dak. Empty stats, Dak. And I say, okay, you don't believe in him. Then what do you believe in? Who is the guy? Of course, we need Pat Mahomes. Okay, you're not getting Pat Mahomes. Okay, you're not getting Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is unique. Kansas City got lightning in a bottle and had a coach that knew how to develop him. That situation's not going to happen. But realistically, what is the realistic thing that you think we can do to replace him? Now, I want to play a couple of clips and I want to look at a few things, because the real question is if you say Dak isn't the one, what is it that Dak needs to do, or the person who's replacing Dak needs to do to make this team a Super Bowl team? Plain and simple. What does the next guy need to have that Dak doesn't to be successful? As I look right now with what's going on, where we got the great quarterback shuffle, we're going to look back next year and say, did that work? Did the Rams get to the Super Bowl changing quarterbacks with Matthew Stafford? Because in the end, over the course of 5 years, here's what the Rams have spent on quarterback to end up with Matthew Stafford. They have literally spent 4 first-round picks, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and a player to get Matthew Stafford. Now, maybe some of you guys think that Matthew Stafford is Pat Mahomes. It'll remain to be seen if it was just a lion stank, or if it's actually Matthew Stafford, that he's just an average to slightly above average quarterback. We'll find out, because he's going to a good team. But as we look at a team like Washington that's trying to get into the trade mix for Matthew Stafford, or Carolina, or the Bears that have a pretty decent team that's trying to look at maybe Carson Wentz and a guy who truly is downhill, I want to know, what is the thing that Dak can't do that you guys believe somebody else can? Just a straight up question. And the haters, you can. This is your opportunity to say what it is that Dak is lacking, that Dak is missing, that we need to replace him with. Now, Jimmy Johnson this past week was talking about the situation here, and I'd like to go to a little bit of that clip right now.
Brought it down there because they were not a disciplined football team a year ago. They turned the ball over and had penalties. They're a disciplined football team right now. That's why they're in the Super Bowl.
Now, Coach, let's take you to a place where you're familiar, the Dallas Cowboys, and switch gears a little bit. And their quarterback situation. A lot of free agent quarterbacks out there, a lot of quarterbacks that are under contract potentially up for trade. Would you be interested in some of those quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, et cetera, or stick with
Oh, yeah.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Well, no. Let me have Aaron Rodgers. Oh, or let me
Over
have Patrick
Dak?
Mahomes. Yeah. You bet. They're both more talented than Dak. But you don't ever get rid of a quarterback or a player until you find somebody better.
Ooh, that's
and they're
good.
not going to get those guys. Now they're never going to get those guys. They've got a great leader. That it's an outstanding quarterback that can win you a championship. Get him signed. They should have signed him 3 years ago. They should have signed him 2 years ago. They should have signed him this offseason, but they wanted 5 years rather than 4 years. They would have saved a lot of money had they signed him any one of those previous 3 years. Get him signed. He's your quarterback.
Coach, let me ask you this, because this is the question that everybody's wondering. Dak Prescott this year was about 1-3. If you count the Giants game, he had 2 wins. 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win. If you're the coach or Jerry Jones, why are you so convinced that you can win a Super Bowl with Dak? Not saying you can't win a lot of games, but why is Jimmy Johnson convinced that Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl?
Let's see. Let me just think. Troy Aikman, as great a quarterback as he was, won 0 games his first year. Steve Walsh won 1 game. We were 1-15. Now, the next year, I gave him a little bit of a supporting cast, and we won 7. Had he not hurt his shoulder, we'd have been in the playoffs the second year. And I sat down with Troy, and I said, Troy, I'm sorry you didn't make the Pro Bowl. He said, Coach, you keep bringing in players and giving me some talent around me. I'll make plenty of Pro Bowls. Now, we won our first Super Bowl. We were the youngest team in the league, and everybody talks about the triplets with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman. They went into the Hall of Fame. But we were number 1 in the NFL total defense. And so, you look at Dak, yeah, he had a very mediocre record this year to start out. Because their defense, nobody could have won with that defense the way they played. So you got to have the right supporting cast for any quarterback to win.
Coach, obviously one of the greatest in Cowboys history, one of the greatest the game has seen. So let's talk coaches. Coaches, typically great coaches can come in and win instantly. At least you see winning traits and characteristics. Do you see that from Mike McCarthy, and do you think he's the right guy for that Cowboys head coaching job?
Bye, Sam.
Well, since that went to commercial, that'll be a great spot to stop. Okay, we'll deal with the coaching part of it a little bit later. So, Jimmy Johnson, okay, don't take my word for it. Jimmy Johnson says, with that defense, you ain't winning with nobody. But but again, this is a real question, okay? Because, excuse me, my apologies. Whether you're a Dak fan or not, I'm assuming that you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. And in the end, all you care about is that star getting that ring. I'm assuming that's what it is. But then again, some of you guys might just be, Eagle fans or Giant fans or something like that, or just hating on the Cowboys. That's conceivable. That's very possible. But as you look at the things that we're doing, there's some of the stats that are popping up. In the red zone since 2019, 26 total TDs and 1 turnover. Damn. That's not a bad stat. Most passing yards in a game. These are just 2 that popped up just since yesterday. Most passing yards in a game this season. Dak Prescott, 502. Ben Roethlisberger, 1 yard behind at 501. And Dak at number 3 at 472. And then there's Pat Mahomes at number 4 at 462. Now, I know what a lot of people will say is, well, those were empty calories. Those were games that, you were behind. You fell behind and had to throw all those yards. Stop me if I'm wrong here, but weren't a lot of teams behind in games, including like Matthew Stafford and the Lions? Weren't they behind on quite a few games this year? I don't see any quarterbacks with yardage like that. We're talking about Big Ben, although he's in the twilight of his career, and Pat Mahomes. I don't see Sam Darnold up in there because Lord knows if anybody should have been getting, trash yards, it should be the Jets. Because Lord knows they were behind. I don't see anybody from Jacksonville because Lord knows they were always behind playing, empty calories. And I'm not saying that Dak doesn't have things to improve on. He does. But as I look at his numbers, they've continued to rise. I can look at Carson Wentz. His numbers rose year number 2 and then steadily declined. So what is it that you need Dak Prescott to do or the next guy to do in order to get to the Super Bowl? And this is not about me trying to defend Dak. I look at it and say, as teams that are out there that are jockeying for quarterbacks that have done nothing, quarterbacks that have failed in other places, where we're talking about giving up number 1 picks, literally the Rams spending 4 number 1s, 2 seconds, and 3/3, and a player to end up with Matthew Stafford. I look at this and say, what is it you think that's out there that's going to do it? We heard tank for Tua 2 years ago. And now Miami, you hear us kind of maybe, is he the guy? Maybe we draft another quarterback since we got that pick from the Houston Texans. We heard Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he's the real deal. Big guy. Looks like a quarterback. The Jets are sitting here like, yeah, well, maybe we'll take another quarterback this year too. There's not a lot of great options. You can't just go to Walmart and get a quarterback. But since you guys know everything about Dak and why he's not the guy, then tell me what it is, who it is that the Cowboys can get that won't hurt the rest of the team. Because you say, go get Deshaun Watson and it's going to cost you 3 number 1s, you still have the same defense. So give me realistically, the guy that we can get and still build the team. That won't cost a fortune. That's the other part of it. All right, so I'm done with this one this morning. We'll let you know if there's any news on Carson Wentz. The rumors were flying that there had been talks, that the Bears and the Colts and who knows what else. Who knows? Every day just seems to be like a whirlwind with news on the NFL. So we'll keep our ears to the grindstone. Is it my ears or is it to the train track? I don't know what it is. We'll keep listening for it. But as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe B Sports Report. I'll see you guys, later.